Okay.
Are you on?
Okay.
See how it's okay.
Finish?
That's not
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get started. Thanks everybody for being here. We're really excited to have everyone here. I hope everyone got to participate in the fun game of guessing what's recyclable and what's not. And if you haven't gotten your chance to do that yet, go right ahead. So my name is Yvonne Marzuk, and this is the Kayamut Sustainability Circle. We meet about every 6 weeks or so here in Kent Mill, and we are learning about different ways that we can all protect the environment and what Jewish tradition has to say about that. And so I'm going to jump into, so I just want everybody to know that we're recording tonight because we have a lot of people who are really interested in this topic but couldn't be here tonight. So just be aware you're being recorded. And we're really excited to have Eileen and Alan here, and I'm going to introduce them in a moment. So I'm going to start actually with a short Tabar Torah about not wasting, which is appropriate for tonight since we're learning about recycling. So, and these materials are actually from a set of materials called Summoning the Will Not to Waste, which is a part of a core teachings project that my organization, Kayamut, is doing this year. We're doing a year of Jewish learning on the environment, and every few weeks we're rolling out a new set of materials about what the Torah says about protecting the environment. And this was one of our very first topics, of course, was the topic of Bal Tashlit, not wasting. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit from this lesson. And yeah, okay, so the commandment of Bal Tashlit, of do not destroy or waste, has long been considered a Jewish environmental ethic. And I'm not sure, can you just like raise your hand if you feel like you know a lot about Bal Tashlit and how it relates to the environment?
You qualify a lot.
Fair. Oh, that's
wow.
Great.
Hey.
Yeah. So Rabbi Norman Lamb understands this lesson to be the biblical norm which most directly addresses itself to the to today's ecological situation. And so it starts with this lesson that comes from Devarim, from Deuteronomy, that says this: when you besiege a city for many days to wage war against it, to capture it, you shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. For you may eat from them, but you shall not cut them down. For it is the tree of the field, a man, to go into siege before you. However, a tree that you know is not a food tree, you may destroy it and cut down, and you shall build bulwarks, siege works, against the city that makes war with you until its submission. So the Torah teaches us, this lesson begins with a lesson about not cutting down fruit trees in wartime. But the rabbis in the Babylonian Talmud understand this verse to be a general principle beyond war and fruit trees. They employ this common form of rabbinic interpretation that takes a logical inference from a more stringent to a less stringent case. So if Jews must not cut down fruit trees, even in the extreme case of a war of conquest, when destruction is the norm, how much more so must this apply to normal life?
Come on, sneak in.
So the general prohibition, so basically what the rabbis do then is they take this lesson that starts with fruit trees in wartime and they expand it in this deep way to apply to all different kinds of forms of needless destruction. So it applies to wasting energy, it applies to clothing, water, money, and more. So according to the Talmud, the prohibition includes wastefully burning oil or fuel. Many Rishonim, the commentators between 1,000 and 1,500, conclude that wasting any resources of benefit to humans is a Torah prohibition. And for example, the Rambam Maimonides explains that a Jew is forbidden to smash household goods, tear clothing, demolish a building, stop up a spring, or destroy articles of food. And Rabbeinu Yeruchem rails against wasting water when others are in need, as another example of not wasting, of not needlessly destroying things. So, and then the Talmudic sage Rabbi Ishmael makes another logical inference that if the Torah warns us not to destroy fruit trees, then we should be even more careful about destroying the fruit itself. And so currently in Israel, Rabbi Moshe Yitzhak Forehand notes that all rabbinic authorities agree based on this teaching that it is forbidden from the Torah to destroy edible fruit. And this applies to all food that's fit to be eaten, not only the fruit of trees. So Rabbi Moshe Aaron Holiah, who lived from 1888 to 1967, wrote that overeating might be a double transgression of Bal Tashlit. because it's first wasting food and second harming one's body. And Rabbi Shaya Karlinsky, who is a present-day rabbi in Israel, considers taking more food than one can eat at a buffet to be Baal Tashlit. Just think about that next time you're at a buffet.
Rob Chappelle.
Oh yeah. So there are limitations to what's considered needless destruction. Observance of a mitzvah, like tearing clothing in mourning, or preservation of human life or health overrule Baal Tashlit when the two come into conflict. And also, one does not violate Baal Tashlit if you destroy an object, if destroying it is of more benefit than preserving it. So for example, if you were cutting down a tree and the wood was more worthwhile than the fruit, then that wouldn't be Baal Tashlit. However, the Jewish sages reveal a high degree of sensitivity when it comes to waste. And according to the Sefer Achinuch, righteous Jews do not allow the loss of even a grain of mustard, being distressed at the sight of any loss or destruction. And if they can help it, they prevent any destruction with all the means within their disposal. And Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, he's my favorite when he talks about Baal Tashlit, he explains in very strong language that lo tashlit, do not destroy, is the most comprehensive warning to human beings not to misuse the position which God has given them as masters of the world and its matter, through capricious, passionate, or merely thoughtless, wasteful destruction of anything on earth. And he continues in his book, Horeb, if you should regard the beings beneath you as objects without rights, not perceiving God who created them, and therefore desire that they feel the might of your presumptuous mood, instead of using them only as the means of wise human activity, then God's call proclaims to you, do not destroy anything, be a mensch. So he was writing in German, so he was saying, be a man, right? Only if you use the things around you for wise human purposes, sanctified by the word of my teaching, only then are you a mensch and have the right over them which I have given you as a human. However, if you destroy, if you ruin, at that moment you are not a human being, and you have no right to the things around you. I lent them to you for wise use only. Never forget that I lent them to you. As soon as you use them unwisely, be it the greatest or the smallest, you could commit treachery against my world, you commit murder and robbery against my property, and you sin against me. And he's speaking on behalf of Hashem. So he says, in truth, there is no one nearer to idolatry than one who can disregard the fact that all things are the creatures and property of God, and who then presumes to have the right, because he has the might, to destroy them according to a presumptuous act of will. Yes, that one is already serving the most powerful idols, anger, pride, and above all ego, which in its passion regards itself as the master of things. So just to talk about how Baal Tashlit is related to recycling, so according to both Rabbi Karlinsky and Rabbi Aryeh Strijkovsky of Jerusalem, a person who throws in the garbage an object that could have been recycled without any additional effort transgresses the prohibition of Baal Tashlit. And Rabbi Strijkovsky also goes on to say that a person can be especially mindful regarding the mitzvah of Baal Tashlit and go beyond what's called for by the halacha. So that could include examples like buying a more efficient car or air conditioner, even if it's more expensive, or designing and building one's house in an environmentally friendly way. So these are ways that like hit or mitzvah when it comes to Baal Tashlit. So the verses that introduce this mitzvah describe a war against an external enemy, but the rabbis actually make clear that the real battle that's waged is within ourselves against a tendency to be wasteful. Rabbi Hirsch identifies the key traits that lead to wasteful behavior: anger, pride, and most of all, ego. So to tread lightly and live without wasting, one must cultivate the opposite of these traits: inner peace, humility, and selflessness. So by consuming in a mindful way and not wasting, we can become healthier, more balanced human beings, and also promote a healthier and more balanced world. So the teaching here concludes, may the changes we make in our own lives ripple outward to our families, our community, and our planet. So, great. So, and I should give credit to Rabbi Yonatan Merrill, who is an Orthodox rabbi in Yerushalayim, who has written many of these teachings and who wrote this teaching through the process of the Year of Jewish Learning that we're doing. So great. So with that, I am so pleased to introduce our guest speakers. So we have here with us tonight, we were really excited, I just say, we were really excited to have the opportunity to have people from Montgomery County come and talk to us, because I don't know about you, but I have this problem where I want to recycle things, I really want to do the right thing, and then I'm holding something in my hand and I'm thinking, it doesn't have a recycling symbol on it. I'm just not sure, you know, maybe it's too small to even care about, you know, there's a staple in that paper, those